So we're going to kick off the first devlog. I guess we're just going to be talking about kind of what the game's about, what we have so far, and kind of the planned features, and a little bit of what we want to do for open beta, and kind of where we see ourselves in the next little bit. So we currently have this really small team. At the moment, we're just kind of prototyping, trying to build, and kind of see what we can do with I guess the assets we have right now. So just to start it off, we already have a login server. It's decoupled. You can register, you can log in, just like that. You're able to create new characters, choose the 4 classes, and everything like that. We have decided to use RUDP instead of TCP or UDP for our netcode. And the reason for that is it's just faster, and we don't need to really mess with anything else. You can click to move. Right now there is no tile map. I'm actually in the process of currently creating that, so that's most likely going to be another video, or most likely it's just probably not going to be video at all. This is pretty much where we're at. Do a little typing. So let's go ahead and get started. So Archewood is kind of going to be a 2D. Obviously, as you can see, it's going to be pixelated. It's going to be a little bit of like a unique twist between kind of like a loot and I guess a little bit of a Borderlands feel to it. So you're going to have your town hub, then you're going to have a portal. It's going to create an instance, and it's going to be a randomly generated biome with you and a few players if you choose to. We're going to go with a little bit of a hardcore survival-esque gameplay. So you're going to essentially everything you bring into these little portals. If you die, you lose it all. So you're kind of going in there, gathering resources for crafting, getting your loot, and then leaving, kind of thing, and just kind of rinse and repeat just to build up your character. Eventually, there will be PvP. There'll be guild raids, dungeons, and everything like that. It will just scale with the amount of players. Archewood will be a complete player-driven economy. There will be a few shops just selling pretty much the basic, but other than that, there'll be an auction house, and everything will just be player-driven. Everything will either be player-made or found within an instance, kind of thing. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So I guess to get into it too. So just to go over some quick issues we're having here. I'm not using the Text Mesh Pro or anything like that. So when someone has a smaller resolution, it doesn't really render the text very well. As well as when I first built out the player, I went ahead and put the admin level. So this is gonna be like the staff rank, etc. It's gonna be on the player only. But now that we're kind of experimenting with that, it's not very ideal at all to put that. So we're going to go ahead and change that over to our account details. So it's going to be account specific. So if someone is an admin and so on, it has nothing to do with your player, because it'll be a little bit tedious making a player admin, or if you create a new player, it just doesn't really make any sense. We already have the premium time account specific and not player specific, so it's probably a better approach to go ahead and change that. So let's do that right away. Should be a pretty quick change. Nothing really will have to change very much. The database will need to be wiped, of course, because um, it's already saving a lot of the old stuff, so we're going to need to go ahead and get rid of that. But this is the server. The server is now okay. I'll move that over. Now we'll just quickly do that same change over on the client side. So let's remove the admin level. And we're going to go ahead and bring it over to the account details. Now that's going to go ahead and sync up. So as well as since the icons are already transferred over, we will need to go back to the server side and kind of change, instead of it calling the player, we're going to need to call the account details to go ahead and get the essentially your icon. So there'll be different icons for moderators, admins, and game masters. So right here we're just checking to see if there is an admin level. So we just need to go ahead and change this to the account details. See if we can access it from the player client. There we go. And we'll go ahead and need to do that for essentially everywhere that it calls that. There we go. And then we also need to do that for actually, I believe that might be everything. Let me just double check. Yep, that's everything for the server, so that should be okay. And then finally, on this side as well, let's double check. Okay. So we do need to change it here on the client side as well. So this is just getting the icon. This displays it next to your, I guess right below your health bar, as well as in the chat. So the server sends it the level to you, so it all displays properly. So let's go ahead and change that over to the account details this time. So once again, this is a really quick fix, and just to double check, yep, that was the last place it's calling it. So if we go ahead and run the game server, let's do that on this side. Let's make it run. As you can see, it started. Let's move this over here. And then if we change the game manager to right now, it's being listened to on the dedicated server. So you can log in and play on the on our most recent branch, and you can walk around. You can chat with all the people there. Right now, I'm just gonna change it to the local host just to do some debugging and some testing, just to make sure everything is working as it should be. It's a pretty light change. I have a feeling it's not really going to be anything too crazy. I think it'll just work right away. Eventually, before we hit any more, I do, yeah, as you can see, everything's working just great. Okay, so it's not showing it into the chat. So that is most likely a database issue. So if I go ahead and remove that from the database, I'll probably just do that after this video just to kind of keep it short. That'll most likely get fixed. And then changing the text, it's just a quick fix. We're just changing it over to rich text. But in the future, we do plan on adding some attributes, especially with our little spider. Maybe we can get a little sneak peek on that as well. Let's go over to the animator. It's a little cute little spider. So we're going to have this into the game. We'll have the attributes. We're going to try to have about 12 to 14. So that'll be like spell power, attack power, haste, critical, pretty much everything you'll see from a standard RPG element standpoint. We're going to have that all in here, and then we're going to try to incorporate that to items, and then we're going to go ahead and get the inventory set up. So go ahead and hit that subscribe, and definitely join our Discord, or even support us by downloading the itch.io game, and then go ahead and spread that around. That would be greatly appreciated. But stay tuned for devlog number 2, and hopefully we'll have a lot more to showcase then, as we're still very, very early in the alpha stage.